All right, so now we're moving on to navigating the social scene. And I know the first bullet point I have here. All right, so now I want to move on to navigating the social scene. And I know the first bullet point I have on here is a little niche, but I've actually been surprisingly asked this question numerous times from current pre-meds, and I kind of just want to get it out of the way. So don't feel obligated to join a pre-med fraternity, and this also goes the same for other like nationally recognized pre-med, pre-health organizations. I know a lot of these are very appealing. You kind of want to find your own group, and you think that being in a pre-med fraternity is a really great opportunity to meet like-minded individuals and to possibly get some sort of opportunities out of them, whether it be exclusive shadowing opportunities, exclusive volunteering opportunities, or kind of things like that. But just to preface, I'm certainly not here to gatekeep any information, and I'm certainly would be doing you all a disservice if I wasn't giving you the whole truth. And I will just come out and say that I've heard very mixed reviews about pre-med fraternities. A lot of people I know who were in leadership positions at the pre-med fraternities, and same goes with other nationally recognized, like American Medical Student Association, for example, other activities or other programs like that. The leadership found that it was very fulfilling and a very good thing to have on their resume, especially with medical school applications. But I also know plenty of people who really didn't get much out of it. They were general members. They were thinking that there would be a lot of exclusive things offered to them because they were members of these organizations. And it really turned out that they worked really hard to get in and then didn't really get much out of it. So again, I don't really want to hate on any of these organizations. I'm sure there's many people in them that are very driven and that are excellent people. But just from my personal experience and my peers' experience, very mixed reviews. And I'd probably summarize this by saying, probably try to be in a leadership position as opposed to just a general member who isn't as involved as much. And I think you're probably going to get a little more out of it if you do pursue a leadership position. Next up we have, and this is also a little bit of a hot take, now is the time to work on being more extroverted and outgoing. Now, I personally did struggle with this a little bit heading into undergrad because I was a little bit of a shyer person. I of course had my friend group, but I think my pre-med experience would be a lot more fulfilling and worthwhile if I was more outgoing and social and extroverted in my first few months on campus. I would encourage anyone watching this video, when you set foot on campus and say you are in your first general chemistry lecture and there's 300 other people in the room, reach out to the person next to you, shake their hand, introduce yourself, ask them where they're from, go up to the professor, introduce yourself, build some rapport. And I think we're going to talk about this later in the video, but being able to build rapport with professors, especially those that you think would be good to write you letters of recommendation down the line, is especially critical. Not only is it useful in the interpersonal setting, but in the professional setting, being able to confidently reach out to other people and communicate with them in a very professional, confident manner really does go a long way. It really will benefit you. So try to reach out, try to be more outgoing, walk down your dorm hall, knock on people's doors, introduce yourself, tell them where they're from, tell them where you're from, build some rapport. It certainly can't hurt, right? And again, I'm sure there are plenty of physicians out there who are excellent at what they do, who are on the shyer side. But in my personal experience, this is one thing that I would have definitely done differently, is I would have been more outgoing, I would have been more social, and made it a goal to be more extroverted, because I think it would really pay off in the end. Now, third, I have here kind of tying more into the mental health side of things that we just discussed in the last slide, and that is work hard, play hard, right? Being a pre-med is hard. You're going to have a lot on your plate. And sometimes things are not going to go the way that you planned, right? You might be studying really hard for a certain test, and then you find out a few weeks later, your grade comes back and it's a letter grade lower than you thought. Please do not beat yourself up over it. Please do not punish yourself in any way, right? You do not need a perfect GPA to get into med school, and there is also no such thing as a perfect application to medical school, right? Do not beat you up. If things do not go your way, it will all turn out well in the end, right? And on the same note, reward yourself for your hard work, regardless of what the outcome is. Make sure you're keeping up that mental health. Make sure you're giving yourself something to look forward to every week, or maybe every other week, just like we discussed earlier. Maybe make it a non-negotiable to try out a new restaurant every other week. Maybe make it a non-negotiable to hang out with friends at the local park every other week. Something to look forward to, something to keep you going, something to healthily distract yourself from a lot of the stressors you're going to be experiencing as a pre-med. And I also have to say this: capitalize on this unique period in your life regarding making it a point of emphasis to socialize with friends. Because there are not many other situations that you're going to be put in where you're going to be living in this type of close proximity with 50 other friends, right? So capitalize on this unique period in your life where you're on campus, you're in this really cool setting, you're surrounded by a bunch of friends, and, take advantage of it. Of course, do everything in moderation, but, give yourself something to look forward to again, and be social, treat yourself, be kind to yourself.